Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Timely Action Hour. This is the show where we talk about everything from Star Wars to comic books and everything in between. My name is Aiden, and I hope that you're doing well today. In today's video, I want to do something different. I have reviewed books on this show before. I reviewed the first two novels in A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. However, that was many years ago, and now I want to do something similar yet still unique in reviewing a Doctor Who audio drama, which is going to be The Fearmonger, starring Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred. Now, this audiobook was the second produced by Big Finish after they had received the license from the BBC to make audiobooks based off of Doctor Who. They got the license in 1999, and this was published in 2001. And this was the first time that Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred had played their respective characters from the TV show together since the 30th anniversary charity special, Dimensions in Time, in 1993. So it was a pleasure to hear them together again, although I have seen them back together on the TV show proper, spoiler alert, but in the 13th Doctor's final episode, we get to see her interact with Ace, who is played by Sophie Aldred for the first time on camera since Dimensions in Time, and we get to see Sylvester McCoy reprise his role as the 7th Doctor. So seeing that was a treat, but hearing them 20 years before that was also a treat. But yeah, I don't have a physical copy because they have CD copies, but I have the digital version of it, so I'll just throw up the cover art. So, to give you the gist of the story without going into too many spoilers, basically what happens is the 7th Doctor and Ace travel to the year 2022. Ooh, the future. At the time of recording, it's 2025, so this is a few years removed from that. But it's funny that, they traveled to that year because The Power of the Doctor, where they were reunited on screen, was broadcast in 2022. So that's an interesting little bit of trivia there for you. But basically, they travel to the future in London because it's Doctor Who. They're going to go to London, whether it's the past, present, or future. But for the TV show, it's, to save money, but in book format, you don't really have an excuse other than the writer here. I'm sorry, I have some of the credits written down here. It was written by Jonathan Blum. The director was Gary Russell and produced by Jason Hay Ellery, and the music was composed by Alistair Locke. So they all did a phenomenal job with creating the ambiance and putting this story together in the audio format, because it was, as I said, a really good story. And Jonathan Blum, who was the author, did a fantastic job. But basically what happens is they go to the future and they try to stop an alien from taking over the world. Wow. How original in a Doctor Who story. But the journey to arriving in the future, to stopping the villain and going off on the next adventure was a great ride, because we meet all of these interesting characters, as you do in a Doctor Who story. And one of the standout moments is when there's a prevailing theme and background noise of this radio disc jockey who is reporting on the news, and he's outspoken about his opinions, and the Doctor is like, oh my gosh, this guy's annoying, but I do believe that people should be allowed to express their opinions while also, doing a public service like reporting on the news. But, you know, he's still annoying. But one of my favorite scenes is when the doctor goes to the radio station as like a distraction, but also as a way to appeal to the villain and their, good side if they have one. Spoiler alert, they don't. But that's a distraction for Ace to be able to get into the area since she's the muscle of their operation. But yeah, it's really fun, that sequence specifically. But we get a lot of standout moments like that. That's just one that really stuck to me because of how funny it was, but also how, it just shows that the Doctor is always willing to show mercy, even though at this point in his life he's getting darker and more murderous. And that's not to say that previous incarnations of the Doctor hadn't killed. I mean, the first Doctor was gleefully throwing, assassins around rooms in season 2, or he was having Ian shoot guys. But I think that this was really a turning point because the 7th Doctor going into the 8th Doctor was really when the character decided, you know what, I am done being such a nice guy. So I really appreciated that. And I just think that the overall ambiance of the story, with the music and the characters actually being afraid, is one of the best written Doctor Who stories I've ever observed in any format, because the titular Fearmonger, who's the villain of this story, preys on the fears of their victims and really exposes them and brings them to the surface in a way that is very horrifying. Because, for example, Ace is injured and there are 4 chapters, but they're broken up into basically 4 episodes of the show, because in the original series, which this is a continuation of, each story was like 4 or 5 or 6 or however many parts, and each episode, depending on which writer's era we're talking about, it was either 45 minutes or 25 minutes, but these are an hour a piece. So 4 hours of your time well spent, in my opinion, but it is, quite a bit of time. But, you can take breaks like I did. When I listen to audiobooks, I just lay in my bed or on my couch with my headphones on and listen. And, I just take a break to get a snack or go to the bathroom or, play with my dog. But, do with that as you will, because, you dictate your own speed at which you read a book or listen to an audiobook. But, yeah, so in part 1, Ace gets hurt and the Doctor is visiting her in the hospital, but the Fearmonger's influence has already seeped into her, so we get a really emotional moment where Sophie Aldred is acting her butt off in the best way possible, and she is just giving her all, and she's really laying into the Doctor in terms of his secrecy and his occasional mistreatment of her, because even though they have like a father-daughter dynamic, the Doctor really has her at an arm's length and is sort of grooming her to be like his replacement. But, he's also, caring towards her and, really empathetic to her plights, and he's very protective of her. But, it's that double-edged sword where he's like, yeah, I want you to go take this bazooka and shoot that Dalek. but at the same time, be careful. So that's just one example from the show. But their dynamic is really put to the test here, and I really enjoy the writing and the acting in this. As I've said before, I just can't say that enough because it's just so well done. This is not the first Doctor Who audiobook that I've listened to. It's the most recent one I've completed, because I'm currently going through the 6th Doctor audiobook, The Holy Terror. That one is good, really good so far. But the first one I heard was Unearthly Child, which is part of the 8th Doctor's audiobook series. And like I said, this was the second audiobook that Big Finish produced, but it was the first in the 7th Doctor Adventures series. But it's not his first appearance in this sort of offshoot of the series. But yeah, like I said, it's just a really, really good story, and I would definitely recommend it to you. I bought it on the Big Finish website, or you can listen to it for free on Spotify, but I would recommend that you buy it so that you have a copy for yourself permanently, either the CD format or the digital download, because once you have that audio file saved to your computer, unless you delete it, it's yours forever. And that's why I think that Big Finish is such a good book publisher, because they give you the physical copy, or for the price, obviously, you buy the copy. But if you buy the digital download, they don't arbitrarily say, okay, thank you, let's put that back in my pocket, go have tea. But no, they let you keep the audio file unless you delete it yourself. And I think that that is the best business practice I've seen in quite some time. Editing Aiden here. I just wanted to add that I have the Big Finish mobile application on my cell phone, and it will have the audiobooks that you purchase. You use your computer or the Google app or search engine on your phone to go to their website and purchase the book, and then you download the app, and then once you install it and sign in, then it just has all of your audiobooks ready to listen to. And you can either use the audio file that you download onto your computer, or if you're like me, you can also listen to the book on the app, which is how I do most of it, although I have just listened to the audio file on my computer while I was writing. But yeah, back to the video. Now, I'm going to stop glazing them and wrap up this video by saying, if you enjoyed this content, please hit the like button, and if you didn't, please hit the dislike button. And if you're new to this show and want to check out more Doctor Who content or comic book reviews or anything like that, please subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos, and share this with your friends. In the description of this video, I'll leave links to my podcast, so if you want to get my content but are too shy to look at my gorgeous face, then click on that and hear my sexy voice. But I'll also leave the links to my Patreon page and merch store, so if you'd like to support this channel financially, I greatly appreciate that. And I'll also leave the links to my social media profiles so that you can get updates and send me messages. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this episode of the National Timely Action Hour, and I sincerely hope that you have a wonderful day. Bye.